Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second and probably final episode of this little playthrough of Midsummer Night. And I watched back the previous episode, and it's basically just me rambling for 25 minutes about atmosphere. And yeah, expect more of that in this one. So yeah, when we last left Klim, he got completely lost in the woods at night, and yeah, he's still complaining like always. And then this fern showed up. So let's see what that's all about. Oh, I guess we'll need to follow it. So to start this off, I know like last time I played this, I asked a lot of questions, and I brought some of them up to the dev, and they actually ended up explaining some of them. Like how, yeah, if you miss the merchant... Oh, seems to be the ash tree that Willow was talking about. Or, to be more precise, what is left of it. Oh no, remember the willow? The willow said that it hoped that the other trees were fine, but looks like they really aren't that fine. One more down, I guess. So yeah, the dev said the merchant can actually drown, and yeah, I'm not sure if that influences the story any, but he also said you can use the twigs on something different later if you don't use it, but I think I used them, no? Yeah, I only have the powder left. Gunpowder is... maybe I should have just moused over that last time. Anyway, it's slippery here. Almost reached the fern. Oh, I'm losing balance! Wah! Yeah, kind of had to happen, hadn't it? So we dropped down into this tree. Oh, that's not good. Looked like claws or something? Maybe twigs? Definitely threatening, though. Oh, who's that? Somebody... Oh! From the far end of the pit where Klim had fallen because of his nauseous steps came a barely audible whisper. A moment later, in a poisonous light, which was dimly illuminating the pit and seemed to be coming from the ground, a figure of a girl appeared. I think this is the first... No, not true. I was about to say I think this is the first time we actually met a human, but it's not true. When we went down to the underground passage where the dam was, there were two men that threatened to kill... Well, they didn't threaten to kill me, but, you know, they kind of threatened me. Malodorous vapors that filled the pit were tingling Klim's eyes, but even through tears that filled his eyes, he was able to see the cave's inhabitant. A dower of a stunning beauty. This stuff is really fairy tale. Like, I know I said that like thousands of times in the previous part, but really the way this stuff is written, and even like the animals or how we helped the frog earlier with the life-giving water, it all feels like it could be part of a fairy tale, you know? Like, you can imagine reading one of those Brother Grimm books and just that stuff appearing in there. Her golden, well-groomed hair were like rivers running down her feet. A scarlet dress made from expensive fabric was tied up by a blue ribbon. She walked lightly and silently, as if floating in the air. "Greetings, my dear friend. Did you get hurt?" Cautiously rubbing his hip. "Greetings. A bit. What are you doing alone in the forest at night? Shouldn't children go to bed at this time?" She smiled kindly. Klim is pretty unsure. She sees that Klim is confused. Or confused, I guess. Why are you scared? Why are you scared? "I won't eat you, really," said the hostess, pretending to be offended, but a moment later, she was again staring at Klim with enchanting kindness in her eyes and sincerity in her heart. "You must be hungry." She shook herself up. "Stay here for a while. I'll make something tasty for you. You can go to the children's chamber and play with the other kids. Other kids? So, well, I guess maybe slipping and falling down into this dead tree's trunk is not the first time it has happened, then. It seems to be a thing that happens a lot. Or, I guess, more than once, at least. With her hands, she pointed at a low arch, apparently leading to the children's chamber that she was talking about, and which Clem hadn't noticed until then. Clem felt a profound peace coming over and going right through him, filling his soul with infinite tranquility. His mind made one last attempt to focus on the terrible events of the evening, but they seemed so distant and unreal, and easily slipped out of his wary head. I don't quite trust this woman, I gotta be honest here. And that thing, it kind of looks a little bit like an oven, so, yeah. Nothing worried Clem anymore. His legs began to move themselves towards the children's chamber. So that's probably like fumes that like cloud the children's head. This woman is dangerous. Don't do it, Clem. Uh-oh. Oh, the music changed now. It's so threatening now. Can you hear it? It's become like distorted. If you can't hear it, I'll up it a little bit in post, but it's obvious that this woman is not what she seems to be. Come in. Don't be afraid. I'll turn on the light. Where are the other kids? Have a look around. Here they are. The fire burst into a blaze, illuminating everything around. It was then when Clem realized where he found himself. Magical spells took him straight into the oven. Oh, I called it. I honestly didn't remember this one. This is one of the things I don't remember, but yeah. Not everybody in this forest is nice, apparently. In the corners, among the piles of ashes, in the light of the flames, shone brightly snow white bones and smooth and polished small skulls. Oh, that's dark. That's really, really dark. That's the children the witch was talking about, Clem thought in despair. Meanwhile, it was getting hotter in the oven. But yeah, it's actually really fitting that it's dark because in fairy tales, a lot of them were like dark in the first place, you know, like how Cinderella had to well, not Cinderella herself, but like her evil sisters were cutting off their toes and the back of their feet to fit into the lost heel, and you know, it was filled with blood. Or I think, if I believe correctly, Rapunzel also didn't have a happy end. A lot of these fairy tales don't necessarily have a happy ending, and in the original are very dark. So yeah, it's actually really fitting that this would be the case here too. A cry of despair burst out of Clem's chest. Let me go! The skin on the face of the maiden suddenly winced, turning a beautiful girl into a hideous old woman witch. Relax. The meat will be tenderer. Yeah, that's also a fairy tale thing where, you know, beauty is kind of akin to nice, or being nice, or goodness rather, and ugliness is akin to, you know, evil, which I'm not sure if that's a good message, but that's how it is. Okay, so I'm guessing I'll have to find a way out of here. Frying boiling little boy. What a yummy gourmet joy. Oh, it's her, just. I don't think I can do anything. A huge pot with bubbling broth, very hot. Okay, there has to be a way I can get out of this alive. I doubt I'll need it. A child's skull. 2 bones were put in the bosom. Okay, I did pick up a bone. Or 2 bones. Can I do something? Alas, the item cannot be applied here. Maybe here? Yes! Well, I think the soup is ready. Oh, hiding on the soup so she takes us out. That's really smart, actually. But it makes you think maybe... And now some tasty meat, and she won't find anything. Where are you, my friend? Where have you hidden? So yeah, what I was about to say is, oh, a knife. Do we have to kill her? Probably. Maybe. We'll see. So, it makes me think, though, that, you know, the ash tree, if... She found me. I'll have to eat you alive. Well, I'm used to it. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ, what are you? So yeah, what I was about to say, maybe, like, the death of the tree was her fault then. Oh. I can't kill her, though, but she can kill me. I should probably get out of here. Oops. How do I get out of here? Forked. Don't ask me how it was done. I'm surprised myself it worked. That's like Monkey Island level of dialogue. I like it. Can I get her to give me some time? Yeah. I cannot use that. Maybe use... Oh. Kikimora's close. I don't have time to cut the rope. Kikimora? Is that what it's called? Now? Really threatening. And I really loved how that kicked in, you know, how when you were climbing the oven without knowing it, how that music just kicked in and you... And it was so well done, you immediately knew something was wrong with the whole thing. Ah, wait! I get her to peck here, no? Yeah, that's gotta be it. Yes! And now I have time because she's stuck. Oh, that is so clever. That is so clever. It's really fairy tale-like. And then I hit her in the fucking head. That was sweet. Wow, I don't... There's no hole where I climbed out of. Let's listen to this music, though, for a sec. Actually, let me turn it up a bit because probably you can't hear it. Probably can't hear it. Yeah, great English. There we go. That's maybe a little bit better. This is also really Monkey Island-esque, this song, I feel like. It reminds me a little bit of Blood Island. One of my favorite locations ever in a Monkey Island game. Return of Monkey Island just got its release date announced, so maybe that's why I have Monkey Island on the brain, but yeah. This will date the video, but I don't mind. So yeah, something I said in the previous video that I cut out was that Clem keeps, you know, talking about these flowers, and it would make sense, right? Because Clem has lived his entire life in the forest, so obviously he would know about the different plants. Oh, this is really pretty. I'm sorry, I'm raving again. I also really like the lighting effects. I didn't talk about the lighting, like, I mean, I talked a little bit of the lighting, like how the lighting changed from day to night, but I didn't talk about, you know, the torch effects and stuff. Inscription on the stone says, if you go right, you'll lose your horse. If you go left, blurred out. One can't read and the path is overgrown. If you go straight, you'll disappear yourself. These are the choices. Oh, I remember this. You get a choice. This is really cool because I feel like, for one thing, you have like replay value a little bit because you can take a different path next time you play the game. And the other thing I feel like is it adds so much mystery, right? Because you take one direction, for example, we would take this direction, but you don't know what's to the right and you'll never know. Canonically, you will never know. Obviously, you will know if you play it again. But canonically, you will never know what you missed. I think that's really cool, actually. I remember last time I played this, I went straight. And I think it leads to a river that you cross it, like, with a log. Oh no, what is with this squirrel? Can I help the squirrel? Squirrel in a trap. Squirrel is in panic and trying to escape from the trap. When it notices Clem, it started to tear itself away, even harder but unsuccessfully. The trap holds it with iron grip. Don't kill me, please. obviously I'm gonna... Why wouldn't I save the squirrel? It's cute. And it needs help. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Thank you. Take me with you. I'll be of service to you. Squirrel was put in bosom. I wonder what happens if you don't help it. Like, will you miss something in the storyline? Because I can't imagine anyone wouldn't help the squirrel, right? Who knows? So yeah, last time I went straight, I believe. So I'm gonna walk. Yeah, I'm gonna walk right this time just to see what I missed in 2017. I'm not going any further. It's pitch black. Then maybe I can't? Now I can, I think, because now I should be able to make fire, no? Like this? Yes, there we go. And now we can go to the right. Something I said when I played and also in the last time I played this. Yeah. Something I said last time was that the swamp music was like really nostalgic, sad, and kind of creepy. And that's apparently one of the only songs that was actually a stock song. But I think that doesn't really matter if it's stock or made for the game because it just fit so well, you know, with the cawing crows and stuff. It fits so well. And I feel like this night atmosphere has turned from, you know, when we met the heathen god, or when we, you know, fell down chasing the fern, we fell down the tree trunk. It felt threatening because we didn't know where we were lost. But now we had this path, right? It's kind of symbolic because now we kind of have a road and a way to go, and it's not so threatening anymore, I feel. So, you know, this threatening night kind of changed to a almost serene night. I wonder if there's a secret behind. There is a secret here. Or maybe that's not a secret. Actually, let me check first. I might be wrong. Huh, there are two ways to go. I guess I'm gonna take the secret way first. I hope I won't fall. Don't say that. You're gonna jinx yourself. I'm gonna walk this way here. What is that? Oh. It's a man living in this cave. Let's see what he has to say. An elder sitting on the cave's moist ground. Is he sleeping or is he dead? Whitebeard, snuffling with his head on the chest. Probably asleep then, no? Grandpa? Snores. Or maybe I should have snored. Okay, now we good. Takes him by the shoulder. Grandpa? What? How quickly the devil has come for my soul! Looking closely. No. You're not devil at all. Well, I've become blind with years. But what are you? Imp doing here at night? My sister has disappeared. A beast from the forest took her away. Oh, such misfortune. Little child, help the old man to get up. Thanks. My legs don't hold me anymore. Let me rest on you. So, it was really a beast. So they say. I didn't see it myself, but the trails. Grandpa, where... Very similar to a bear's, but 7 times bigger. Sorry, I got a little bit confused. The dev is obviously not an English native speaker, and I'm not either. So sometimes some stuff might be lost in translation here. Like bears, you say? Huh. The face of the old man froze, and he gazed into nowhere. I haven't commented on the song in the background yet, by the way, but it's like a really calm and serene song that makes you feel relaxed and safe. It feels like this Whitebeard dude is somebody you can trust just from the music. I really like how the music was composed, like props to the composer, but it also takes a lot of skill to put the music in the right places. And that obviously goes to Everlasting Fantasy. That is really good. The trails you're talking about, I've seen them before. Where? There's a lake not far from here. In the middle of the lake, an island called Flooded, there are ruins of an ancient fortress on that island. I remember when we were children, we used to swim there. Children don't need much, do they? So we ran to the ruined walls and overgrown stones, pretending to be commanders of a countless army, fighting against each other. Ollie's smiling, remembering those things fondly. I really like that little touch. I remember one of my crazy friends used to shout out, "I'm the king's heir!" What king's heir was he? His father was a pitch worker. His mother was a turnip sower. A daughter of a mower. Pig's hair was he. There was a tower in this fortress, so high you couldn't see its roof. I won't lie if I say I ran into the sky. But we were unable to get into the tower. It must have been enchanted. And around the tower were many trails. And all the trails were huge. Just like you said. Oh, he's talking about the bear. Oh, bear trails. How can I get there, Grandpa? I think it's kind of interesting to me because calling much older people than you Grandpa, or maybe, you know, people that are slightly older than you uncle or something like that, even though they aren't related to you in any way, seems to be a really cultural thing, because I know the Japanese love to do it, and apparently maybe it's a Russian thing too, I don't know, but in Germany, calling somebody a grandma or a grandpa is almost like an insult, you know, because it's like you're telling them they're old, and unless they really are your grandpa or grandma, then it's fine. But if they aren't, then it's like just to a random person you don't know, calling them grandma would probably offend them, and I think it's really funny. And if you like said uncle or auntie to somebody slightly older than you, you'd probably get the same reaction. It's really interesting to me. I haven't really dived in much, but it's something I noticed studying Japanese. You can ask my sons for help. Oh, sorry, wrong voice here. You can ask my sons for help. We got here on a boat. They left me here, but they didn't have time to set sail to the south. If you want to catch up with them. Why did they leave you here? It's well known. It's time for me to die. How much longer can I be around here? I'm old. It's time for me to go to the last home and meet my father. And to put in a good word for the community in front of the gods. How is that possible? So they just left you here in a wet cave to die? I gotta admit, I'd probably have the same reaction as Clem. So what? I left my father here at his time. This place is dear. It's been looked after, and it's got a lived-in look. Blinks and smiles. How would he know, though? In confusion. Close your mouth or a crow might fly inside. How would he know that his mouth was open? I'm starting to be a little bit suspect of this old man, but I understand though the point. And the dev was actually talking to me about this too, and get to that after this conversation. You should go. You came out of nowhere and entertained the old man, but the old man came here to die and shouldn't be laughing. Or they'll tell me there, on the other side. Why are you amused? Like you're going to be a fun fair, not our place? I don't understand the sentence. Wait. I still don't understand it. I'm sorry. Clem turns and is prepared to leave. Take some steps. Wait, little kid. I want to tell you one more thing. Looking about, starts whispering. They say that evil is wandering here. An evil much more ancient and sinister than the beast you're looking for. Why do you think that island is called Flooded? Here's why. Once upon a time, there was a great city. It was famous for its brave warriors and skillful artisans. The streets in that city were all glowing with splendor. There were many finely built palaces. The city markets were loaded with many different goods and food from overseas. And the riches and garners were countless. In the center of the city, there was Kremlin, a fortress made of gold and emerald. People from all over the country came to the city, from noble merchants to scruffy peasants, and everyone was welcomed. A forest was spread out near the city. All the city dwellers lived on its riches. Mushrooms, berries, different animals, all in abundance. But during the course of time, the forest started to wither. Animals disappeared and trees began to dry out. And they say that evil had come to the forest. I'm wondering if that's maybe what we saw earlier. You know, remember when it got dark in the first part and we saw many, many dead trees? But on the other hand, we were also on our way to the swamp, so that could have been, you know, the more important thing in that case. Traveler and after, I think I missed the last line. Only they found a traveler, and afterwards only his bones picked with huge teeth were found, or he would be found beside himself under a sunken log, moaning. Famine and plague came to the city. People started to flee from it, and those left behind died before their time. The governor of the city started to go to the forest, looking for the evil in hopes to come to an agreement. You know, it's kind of funny because I think a lot about these things, like in fictional media, and a lot of the time I'm like, if you would just talk to each other, you could maybe come to an agreement, which most of the time is probably fantasy, even in fiction, but because the people just agreements, right? Especially with the current situation in the world and stuff, or situations rather, so much going on. It's kind of funny that this time somebody actually does what I would think would be the first thing to do. He used to disappear for a day or week, but one night he left the city never to be seen again. People thought that an animal had eaten him. Finally, the forest died out and the city was surrounded by water. And it was flooded. Only one island was left with a tower on it. Well, I see I've frightened you. You go and save your sister, and don't be afraid. After all, what is to be, will be. Thanks, Grandpa. So, he doesn't have anything more to say. I think it's really funny because you can totally miss this, right? It's behind the waterfall. I'm so used to secrets behind waterfalls in games that I always check, but you can totally miss this. You don't have to meet this old man. But yeah, I was talking to the dev, and he was actually bringing up a point. I hope I won't fall. Hopefully, about an old thing people apparently used to do, which is oh, I love the song so much too. It fits so well with the night atmosphere, and especially it's not only the song that's great. It's also the ambient noises that fit so well with everything together. It's just so well done. Clem is already, shaking his fist at me again. I know he's probably waving, but it was probably a thing, which is why there's also, I think early in the game, oh, there's a grave, I think. Just a couple of sticks sticking out of the ground. Who left them here and why, I wonder? It looks like a grave, like a makeshift grave. So apparently it's a thing, or it was a thing, where people would bring old people on a sled to the woods and just left them there to die because they weren't of any use anymore. They were old, This is kind of the same thing, right? It's kind of the same theme that they bring the old people that are of no use anymore, that just consume resources basically to die. Oh, look, people. How does he know about it? We went to Novgorod last week to trade furs. He saw it with his own eyes. Maybe I should give these two different voices. Holy cow! He told me now Perrin was thrown into the water, and he swam in the Volkhov River and began talking. Then he threw a dozen of clubs on the shore and told the people to settle all their arguments by using them. Yeah, by the way, the dev also told me that I was pronouncing 99% of the names correctly. I think they were just being nice, but I'm gonna hold them to that. What do these people have to say? Two men, the light from the bonfire slightly reflecting on their rigid faces. I love this. The only thing it's missing is maybe it's not the time to... Oh, shut it. I want to relax here. It's really good. What's this, by the way? Only water ahead. No idea what this... Like, the thing behind him? Like, that looks like a mouse cursor or something. It's probably something different, but... Yeah. Who knows? Do they have anything to say? Interrupts the conversation. Greetings, good fellows. Bows. Would you take me to get to the flooded island over the lake? Why are you treading over at this hour to an abandoned island, fella? My sister Alyanushka was been taken away by a beast. I've been following him half the night. I almost got him, but he disappeared on the island. In the tower, as your father told me. Oh, these are the sons. Now my brain is making the connection. It's urgent, we understand, but we won't go to the lake before the dawn. At night, the lake is full of sea monsters. They say these monsters once were the drowned who turned into fish. They grasp you, drag you down, and eat you at once. How's our father? Hasn't he come before the ancestors yet? Your father is all well. What on earth are you doing? You left the old man in this wet cave at night. This is how things are done. It's a custom. What can be done? The drought is awful, so it's time to send somebody to the gods to ask for mercy. And our old man is an honorable man in the village. Okay, so that makes sense. So it's not even that he only consumes resources and isn't of any use anymore, but pragmatically speaking, it's that they believe in this god, and that this god is causing the droughts. So they sent a sacrifice, and it would make sense to send somebody that isn't really of use anymore for the village. Like, as I said, pragmatically speaking. The gods will treat his prayer with respect. What custom is it that requires you to take wise old men to the forest to feed them to the wolves? Wouldn't it be wiser to ask the old man for advice? How to survive the drought? And not die from hunger instead of killing him? Yeah, this is actually also something I was thinking of and I didn't really say. Yeah, obviously, like, they wouldn't, like, they wouldn't be of use anymore if they're old and blind. But that doesn't mean they don't have the experience and have things to say that are useful for, the village or the town, whatever. But, yeah, I just kind of didn't say that. Don't know why. We have respect for the old man's wisdom in our village. More than once, their life experience and long-sightedness have saved us from famine and plague. Silence. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that. But Klim said something that makes sense, huh? I see your boat is in a bad condition. Soon you'll have to make a new one. Why's that? How are your sons going to take you to the forest? Oh... Got them there, Klim. So that's what you're up to. You go away or you'll suffer. Yeah. It's kind of, I guess a human... Listen, maybe this little fellow is right. It's too early to send Grandpa to the gods. We need the old man's wisdom here. It doesn't matter if he's right or not, but I don't want to hear my son later saying, "Forest time, Dad." Maybe we can tell Grandma that we've taken Grandpa away, but instead we'll hide him in a pit in the barn and feed him? So why are we still sitting? Let's go for the old man, until wolves have him bitten to death. That's a deer. I don't have time to wait for the sun to rise and chase away the monsters. I must save my sister. So we're just gonna steal the boat. I think it's funny because I think probably you can totally miss the old man. And if you do, then he'll just die, It will be the last thing he'll experience, but this way we're able to save him. I think that's actually a very pretty story that comes together here. making his sons realize that maybe what they're doing isn't the right choice, and them realizing and fixing their mistake is always, in my opinion, a very pretty story. Like the redemption kind of thing is always nice. Okay, only water ahead. Let's take the boat and go. Let's steal these people's boat. What the shit is that? Oh, Jesus, that's what they were talking about. Okay, so I gotta be careful here. I got eaten by a giant fish. Oh, I'm here. I probably should have, but I think I was fast. Now. Oh, I did it. Oh, I didn't do it yet, but... Oh, Jesus, that was so close. Yeah, you have to kind of time this correctly. I guess go down here. Yes, that worked. Ooh. That is a threatening kind of atmosphere. Or is it? I'm not quite sure what to make of this music. It sounds... Let me take a listen actually. Yeah, it sounds like... It sounds kind of sad. I can also kind of make like a little bit of bravery out of there, like this is what we're gonna do now. And it's not really creepy, but a little bit threatening too, I would say. By the way, I really love this water effect right here. It's even more impressive without the light, I think. It's like the moonlight reflecting. And it's so... Oh, and now the melody is coming in. It's so pretty, the song. I really like it. And the moonlight reflecting on the water is so nice. This is such an atmospheric game. It's highly underrated. Actually, criminally underrated, in my opinion. Can't go any further. I must have missed something here. Oh yeah, this makes sense. A beast that has captured Alyosha somewhere on this island. First, I should find him and release my dear sister. And I couldn't read the rest. It was too slow. Nevermore. Oh, that's a cool reference. That is a cool reference. What is this, by the way? I can't read it. Nevermore. Like, look at this. Look how pretty this is. Like, it's looping now, so I can tell you now. The beginning of the song sounds like this part sounds threatening. But then it slowly turns like to, or pretty quickly actually, turns into this, okay, I'm gonna do this feeling, you know? I love it. What's this? A well. It's scary to look there. Feels like something's going to jump onto you from the bottomless depth of this well. I wonder, I'm afraid to merely look inside and far more climb in there. Can I make him though? Like if I just spam the button? Kind of, I just wanted to try because sometimes, I said this at the very beginning of the first part, sometimes it works. Oh Jesus, Skeleman. Spoopy Skellington. I'm not going to touch anything here. Somebody on the square was impaled a long time ago. This is the first time I've seen such cruelty. Only water ahead, yeah. Figured. And now, so many trails of that beast here. And now that the keys are coming in to the music, it even feels a little bit sad, you know? Huge stone slab used as a door of the tower. I think this is a puzzle. Yeah, it's kind of a passcode thing. I really like how Everlasting Fantasy played with the lighting in the night atmosphere. It's so pretty. Actually, in the morning and evening places in this game, the night atmosphere, the day atmosphere rather, is and the way the sun kind of moves is. Oh, I remember this part. This I actually brought up in my review because I thought it was so cool. You'll see in a second. So yeah, like the lighting is a very strong suit in this of this game. I remember this part now because it's like an empty mass grave, right? Looks like a mass grave, or looks like a mass grave. I wonder what might have been the reason to such great number of deaths. Unfortunately, I forgot my ID of a looter at home. Yeah, Clem making jokes like always. Okay, so how do we find the way into the tower? Maybe it's this letter? Nevermore. I really love the ambient sound effects. Like, it's so underappreciated sometimes in games, but in this case, like the crows really add a lot. But that's just my opinion. I wonder if you can get back into the boat, maybe. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do here. Oh wait, no, never mind. A worn-out boat. Okay, we can't use the boat again. Then I guess the only thing we can do is try to find the solution to the puzzle. What items do I have with me, by the way? Maybe the squirrel? No. I forgot about the squirrel, by the way. Whoops. What's this, by the way? Maybe it's something... I cannot lift it. Why would I anyway? I don't know. Maybe there is something hiding in there. But yeah, I kind of feel it's kind of interesting how the game turned from this light-hearted fairy tale from daytime to this more this darker kind of feeling during nighttime. But I really like it, like the dark themes of this game, the way it looks. Like, I'm not sure if you noticed, but even like if you look at Clem, you can even see the torch casting shadows on his body. It's so well done. Like everything about this game and everything that has to do with lighting in this game is so pretty. Okay, so I wonder what we're supposed to do here. Maybe we can find... Like, you can even see... You know, there's somebody in this tower. You can see light, you know, casting shadow... Like, that little halo of light coming out of the window, you know? And I didn't say this in the very beginning of the game, but there was also a really cool lighting effect in the very first hut you start in with Clem. I noticed that. I didn't comment on that when I rewatched the previous part. Okay, so there must be something here. I do remember this part though. I remember this being the hardest puzzle in the entire game. But I don't remember how to get the solution. I don't know what these insects are supposed to be. I guess they're supposed to be moths. I wish... This is maybe this is just me speaking because I love fireflies, but I wish there were fireflies in this game. Wait, maybe? Nevermore, huh? Then maybe this isn't a reference. Maybe this isn't an Easter egg. Maybe the passcode is... Yes! It's Poe. I should have guessed. Almost everything has, like, a reason to be there. be it story-wise, puzzle-wise, or, you know, just to drill things into your head. Like how Clem keeps talking about, as soon as Clem entered, a soul-chilling cry coming from a man or an animal arose from the tower. Oh, that was a really cool transition, by the way. So yeah, we're getting into really interesting stuff here now, because there is a bear on the ground. A beast, right? But didn't the beast take Alyanushka away? I guess when we talk to this person on the ground in the top right, some of the questions will be answered. And I also can't help but notice this light spot, or the spotlight on the top left of the screen, and the throne. So yeah, what I was about to say, everything in this game kind of has a purpose, because like how Clem keeps talking about flowers, because Alyanushka actually loves flowers and she made stuff from flowers, and that would also add to the reason why Clem would know so much about plants. Let's look at this. A huge bear skin. The skin is here, but where's the bear himself? It's weird, right? It feels like maybe somebody killed the bear before we got to him? A man, doubled up with pain, is lying on the cold floor. Apparently, the pain tortures not only his body, but also his soul. Let's see what he has to say. A man lying on the floor, deep breathing and groaning, unclear mutter. Where's the damn bear? Why is only his skin lying here? The man on the floor raises his head and says in a woolly, barely heard voice, Who are you? And how dare you to enter this palace without permission? I'm Clem, a son of the smith. This evening my sister was taken away by a huge bear. Some people have told me the bear lives in this tower. The trail also leads here. So I want to release my sister from the paws of this bear and settle accounts with the beast. I love how Clem, even though he went to like a child-eating witch and stuff like that, is still so determined to save his sister. It speaks for the bond of the two. A man lying on the floor. I wish you good luck, the son of the smith. Bitter laughter that turns into a silent sobbing comes out of the lying man. The laughter reflects from the high vaults of the tower and becomes a sinister echo. Shadows and an indifferent noise of burning torch only intensifies. Shadows and an indifferent noise of burning torch only intensify despair that rules this god-forgotten place. I didn't say this in the first part, but I also noticed that the torches were like making this crispy fire sound, and I thought it was really cool and added a lot to the atmosphere. But yeah, I've talked about the atmosphere so much in the previous part and also already in this part, so I'm trying to focus a little bit more on, what's ahead. Why are you laughing? What do you think? What do you know about it? Answer me, or I'll take this axe and cut your head off. Jeez, Clem, calm down. The man tries to smile, but pulls an awful face. If you do so, fellow, I'll be very grateful to you. But you can cut me with an axe or stab me with a hay fork. You won't succeed. I've tried it before. Who are you? The name I was given by my father and mother is Yar. But for my courage and heroic deeds, people call me the Bear King. I am the only one rightful sovereign of this country. By the rights given by people and willed by the heavens, my ancestors have ruled over these lands since the dawn of time. Aren't you lying? The last sovereign disappeared in the forest many years ago. They say the bear I'm looking for ate him up. It's kind of funny how it feels like we've seen so much during this journey. Like we've seen a talking tree that's dying because the humans have blocked the water, which feels a little bit like a commentary on humanity destroying nature. We have had the frog that we brought back to life that got the cart out of the way. We've had the heathen god just, rising from the underworld, just walking away in the forest, never ever to be seen again. We have had, talking crows. We've had like the child eating witch. We had so much cool paranormal stuff going on. It's really cool. It feels like so many stories come together to make this one comprehensive story for Klim. And Klim is just, Klim is just experiencing all of this, making his way through the forest for his own story, to save his sister. But all these things are coming at him, and it's so cool because I feel like there is so much more going on in this forest. It feels so good. I wish this game was like, I don't know, double or triple the length, really. Bear King? How could he disappear when he's right in front of you? Tries to stand up, but again falls down on the cold stone floor of the tower. Klim, it's always pleasant to listen to a fairy tale. You're so young, but I see that the truth is much dearer to you than lies. So listen to what I'm going to tell you. Once upon a time, a great city was here. My ancestors ruled over it for many centuries. There were great warriors and kings. And when my time came, I ascended the throne, drawing on wisdom of my fathers. I began to rule in justice and fairness. But misfortune fell to my lot. In our forest that fed us with everything we needed, appeared evil. It started to destroy the forest. Where a cold stream was running, appeared a bad-smelling bog. Where common people used to pick up mushrooms and berries, poisonous toadstools started to grow. Plague, even a foreign healer had never seen before, came to our city. This story actually seems to be the same story that the old man told us about, just, from the perspective of the sovereign of the time. So I went to the forest and looked for evil for 3 days, and when I found it, I stood right in front of it, bowed, and said, "Evil, stop destroying my city and the forest. Go away from here." But I made a mistake, because you can't make a deal with evil. It cursed me. It turned me into a fearful beast, a huge bear, and made me dance to its pipe. I've done a lot of mischief and brought misery in this disguise. Many times villagers tried to hound me to death. They put traps and drove a wood for me. So maybe he is the thing, like he is the person then that took our sister away, right? I think it's kind of because I'm not. Okay, let me tell you my thoughts here, because for one thing, I think this is a cool plot twist. Because you were chasing this bear, and turns out it was the long lost sovereign of the country being cursed by evil. But I am not quite sure if everything is really happening literally, because Klim maybe, I don't know. On the other hand, there wasn't really. I'm trying to think of a spot where maybe Klim could have fallen asleep and then imagined all these things, But if you take, the stump from the beginning of the episode, then that means the heathen god was probably real, right? And I don't. It's kind of interesting because maybe it's a Silent Hill situation going on here, where a lot of the things are just in his head and he's imagining it to be something else, like a kid, Maybe it's wrong to say Silent Hill situation. Maybe it's more like a Pan's Labyrinth situation, rather, But evil played a nasty joke on me. It made me invincible. Nothing could harm me. Not a blunt attack of a farmer, nor a sharp arrow of a skilled hunter. It gave me an eternal life, and made me watch the city, which was built by my great-grandfather, become empty, ruined, and going under the water. I couldn't do anything about it. I saw my heir die in plague, and with them, my royal kin came to its end. I saw my last friends die, my loyal warriors. I stopped counting my years when I turned 276, was it? Maybe it was more. I kind of like my microphone was actually in front of it. And I stopped praying to the gods asking for mercy to kill me. So don't get angry with me, Clem. This is the son of the smith. Though I'm a monster, though I am the monster, the bear you're looking for, it wasn't my will to take away your sister. That was for sorcerous ceremonies of evil. Where is Alyanushka then? I can't tell anyone. Evil put such spells on me that I can't tell even if I want to. My tongue won't obey me. Burn the bearskin. Burn the bearskin. That's the only way to unspell me. When you set me free, I'll tell you where to find that hideous creature and your dear sister Alyanushka. Damn. This story has gotten much bigger than just getting the sister back. I mean, to be granted, fairly, saving your sister is pretty big, too. So let's look at this spotlight that I had been eyeing for almost the entire time. A ray of pale moonlight. Getting through a hole on the roof. I can't do anything with it. I don't think. The skin is here, but where's the Baramstone? Okay, we already read that. I wonder, do I have anything to burn it with? Oh, I guess I could use the stick here, like this. No, I can't. How do I burn this then? I hope I'm not wrong, by the way, because I remember talking about the mass grave. But maybe that only shows up if you take a different path with the ghost kid. If it doesn't show up anymore, then I'll put like a link in the description to what I'm talking about. I talked about it in my review, so it's a very short thing if you're interested. So let's see if I can do anything here, maybe. How do I burn it? I mean, I do have a torch, but for some reason Klim doesn't think of that, I guess. Oh, look, you can see like his legs on the bear, standing on the bear. Doesn't think he has anything else to say. No. Can I poke him? Can't. Squirrel has also not been that helpful yet. I can't put moonlight in Bosom. That would be incredible. Yeah, it really would. So this moonlight, I wonder. Oh look, there's something up there. Can you see it? Is that like? It's either a bat or maybe it's a statue. Oh, look at that. There's something here. But I can't do anything with it. Yet, I would assume. Oh, yeah. Well, that was easier than I thought. Just tip over the torch. Thank you, Klim. My soul's free now. I feel how the bear in me is leaving my blood. And as does my condemnation for eternal life. Wrinkles slowly appear on the face of the king. I'm already hearing how my ancestors are calling for me from the depth of an oblivious sleep. Looking into the void, as if to say something. See something? My father, my mother, almighty gods. Take me. I'm going to join you before the dawn. Tell me now, Bear King, where I can find Alyanushka. I was about to say, you made a promise, dude. There's a great mound in the dead forest. You can see it from everywhere. On the mound, there's Oak Warrior. I left your sister there. How do I get to the dead forest? Under the fortress, there's a hidden passage. It will bring you to the dead forest and right to the mound. You'll find the entry behind this throne. Step on one of the slabs in this chamber, and the throne will move aside. When you're down there, pass by the burial vault of mighty sovereigns, my ancestors. When you hear water splashes of a stream, that will mean you're close to the way out. Thank you, King. Farewell. Wait! Grabs flaps off the shirt. If you have to fight evil, you should know that you won't be able to defeat it on your own. Its power is in a tree that grows upwards with its roots. Cut the roots, and evil will be defeated. Take my battle axe from the wall. It served me well during the invasion of fierce foreigners. Now, it'll serve you. And take this shield. It'll serve you too, very soon. And me, I'll follow you to the dungeon. My bed is waiting for me in the family vault. Just have to put my armor suit on. Go! You have little time left. You should make it in time before the dawn, or you'll lose your sister forever. Okay, so now there's even a sense of urgency, because, I mean, there was always kind of a sense of urgency to get the sister out of there, but now it feels even stronger, because now there's, like, a hard time limit dawn on it. Many thanks to you, the great king. Rest in peace. I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna grab this. And then I'm gonna press the stone slab. And now it doesn't stay open. Maybe I have to put something on there. Can I maybe push this? I wonder what this moonlight is about, if there's something I'm missing here. Oh! I'm just sitting on here? Let's try. Oh, you said something. You can feel the burden of responsibility on your shoulders at once. You just sat on it. But to be fair, who wouldn't, right? Given the chance. Ah, yeah, that's how you do it. You use the shield to reflect the moonlight. And then you can wake up the bat that drops a helmet to push down the slab. Okay, that is quite clever. So I guess when the king said you're going to need the shield very soon, he meant like immediately after I talk to you. Yeah, it also removed the shields. Okay. Game saved. Nice. Now we have this threatening, a little bit generic music, but I guess it kind of fits. You can hear like the dripping of water. Oh, this is like a labyrinth. I thought this was a little bit more obvious where to go. Jesus, I already forgot which way I came from. Guess I'm just gonna walk further into... Oh! Is that a coffin? A wooden coffin covered in web. One of mighty kings and mighty princes rests here. It's occupied. I guess, yeah, you could say that. There's another one here. I guess, yeah, this is the crypt. So maybe when... Klim... It's Alyanushka's voice. Let me go, my brother. The voice is closer and closer, but I can't see anything in the darkness. Okay, this is really creepy. I love it. It's really, really creepy. It hurts. Alyanushka! Is it just my fancy? Damn it. The torch went out. I think I can hear a distant purl of water ahead. You too? Cold. Oh, now we're walking through the dark. And all we really have is sound and this, on the bottom, the colder and darker, warmer thing. Oh, I really love this. Like how you only have to move with sound in this. This is such a clever idea. This is so clever. But on the other hand, it also means that people that are like, have problems hearing things might have trouble playing this game. Oh my god, this music. I'm sorry I'm raving about the music so much, but just listen to this. I'm gonna shut up for a sec. You know what it sounds like? It almost sounds like, you know, distant echoes of music that was made when the king or the Bear King was still reigning. So it sounds a little bit sad, but also kind of a little bit proud, but nostalgic, but not nostalgic in a good way, but more nostalgic in a sad way, or a creepy way rather. Like the dead are still making the music, you know? And then you have these, she'll release us from our suffering. And then you have these roots, she'll save. Are these the roots the king was talking about? She's our hope. Okay, so theory time. I think whatever it is that is on top of this mountain that the king calls the evil is trying to kill Alyonushka in order to save itself. You know, maybe use her life energy or something to save the forest. And maybe that's... Yeah, right. Maybe not itself, but save the forest. And maybe that's what it's about, you know? Maybe that's why we saw, or we've seen so many dead trees around. Wow, what a mound. It's huge. Oh, it's the toadstools again. You will not eat it. Oh, we can descend here. Okay, I thought maybe we're supposed to walk over this dead tree, but we just earlier saw the trees talking. Bottom of a huge hill, surrounded by a ditch. Can't climb on top from here. Guess I'm gonna go down here then? A narrow pass. I think I can fit. Then do fit, Clem. Do it. What is that? A huge stone covered in moss. A lot of eyes are cut in it. In front of the stone, there's a slab with inscriptions on the ground. A lot has already faded from it, but if you look closer, you can make something out. That's a tree, isn't it? Is that the tree the king was talking about we're supposed to cut? Oh, I can climb up here. Can I use the axe here, maybe? Can I use the squirrel? I can't use anything, I don't think. Let's climb up here. Game saved. Oh, Jesus, okay. Thanks for saving the game. Okay. I get it. I actually even just... You can't see it, but I got an achievement that... Oh, you can actually dodge it. But you have to be very, like, almost going completely horizontal for it to work. Like this. Yeah. Then we can go here. Can't see the next one, though. Oh, there it is. Oh, there we are. Should be safe here. You know what I also like about this game is how many different things it has going for it. Now, I mean, now we have this climbing thing going on. Earlier we had the little boat passage. And now again, we have this music going on that tells us, just do it, Clem, you know? It's very encouraging music. But it's also a remixed version. It's a remixed version of a song we heard earlier, no? With a different feel to it. Ah, it's so cool. That is so cool. I actually did end up buying the soundtrack again just because I had it, and I highly encourage everyone to buy the soundtrack. It's only, I think, 80 cents on Steam, and I already bought it when it was originally released. I think this is the end of the game, by the way. I already had it when it was originally released, and I would have bought it like 3 or 4 more times just to support the developer and the artist. It's so pretty, really. I love it so much. There she is! We finally found her. A tree sticking out of the ground with its roots upwards. The roots are tightly braided and form a cage. Inside, Alyonushka! Her hair is gray. Her eyes are glassy. Alyonushka! And she says nothing. Alyonushka! Trying to part the tree roots. It doesn't move. Well, how can I free you from these manacles? Manacles. Speak to me, my sister. Okay, she doesn't hear you. Who said that? Show yourself. I'm here, Clem. What the what is that thing? That is evil. Clem heard a completely even, calm voice. Oh, then I actually picked the correct voice for him. Just because I didn't know what voice to pick. So you finally got here. Greetings. Further off, there was a strange creature standing. Or rather, it was floating in the air, not touching the ground. In the eyeballs of the skinny, crooked, weightless creature was a gaping void. But its entire gown was strewn with eyes, constantly moving, each one of them looking in its own direction, seeking for something. What are you? A terrible creature? There was something unpleasant and ominous in the monotony with which the creature was speaking. Humans do not talk like that. The sun rises in the morning. It's me. The grass blade trembles in the warm wind. It's me. Rye grows ripe. It's me again. It snows heavily in winter. And again, it's me. I'm everything, and everything is me. If you need to know my name, then I don't have one. The name is for swollen-headed people who have been striving to separate themselves from nature and, in the end, from each other. I am the nature itself, inseparable from it. You're talking in riddles, but I know you want to enchant me like you enchanted King Yar. Oh, that king. So that's the story he told you about me. Did the king tell you how he tried to patience my killing animals in the woods, not for food, but for fun? Did he mention his working plots in the woods, and how he cut down half of them to build his luxurious palace? Did he mention how many times I had asked him to come to his senses, but he shut his ears to my threats of deadly plague, terrible famine, and the great flood? Or he just told his usual tales that he ruled by conscience and justice, while he never actually cared about the usual folks? I gotta be honest, I kind of thought about that because maybe the king saw himself as better than he actually was. Because, I don't know, I wouldn't say I ruled with justice and fairly, definitively, right? But I guess as the king you would speak in absolutes because who's gonna tell you otherwise, right? But then on the other hand, it's probably just not true, right? And I kind of believe evil here. And I'm not even sure if evil is the right name. This creature, maybe it's just like the personification of nature. Or maybe I'm just looking too much into it and it's actually just a creature. Clem, are you trying to fool me, you abomination? They say that since you, evil, settled in here, the forest has been dying. You've poisoned the mighty tree crowns with your malicious deeds. That's true because we've heard that story twice from the old man and the king. But to be quite fair, the old man probably only heard it from like his dad too. And how much would his dad know? Plus a lot of stuff might have been lost in, history. No, Clem. I'm not the reason behind the death and desolation that you see around. It's the people's arrogance. The king couldn't content himself with riches of the forest, so infusive force has abandoned it. I'm here to save the forest from imminent death. This oak is the last life-giving tree whose bark has not peeled off and trunk has not rotten, but its leaves are falling off. Not much longer. The trees are already mourning this dying oak, Commander. In the morning, this oak is going to die, and the whole forest is going to die with it, to the last grass blade. Why do you need my sister then, you evil unseen and wonder unheard of? I've never met a human of such spiritual purity, filled with a life-giving force like your sister. I know it's not her fault that she was born these days, and that I found her, but only she can bring the forest back to life. Look, she's already with the forest. Oh, this is... I don't remember this, though. I don't remember this. I remember there only being like 2 decisions to make here. There are actually 3. Oh, this is not easy. That's not an easy decision. I'm trying to think of what I would do. I don't have a sister. Or sibling for that matter. But if I had... what would I do? I really like the ambience music, by the way. It fits so well with, like, the way I imagine evil to speak. And how the whole situation feels hopeless, and no matter what, something has to be sacrificed here. Either the forest, Klim, or Alyanushka. One of them has to die. But given the choice, I would always save my sibling. Fuck the forest then. This will never happen. You've killed the forest, the city, and you've deprived the king of an heir and turned him into a bear. You've deceived Yar, you cunning evil, but you will not deceive me. Klim pulls out of his pocket an axe of the Bear King and swings, ready to cut the roots, captivating Alyanushka. Well, Klim, you've made your choice. But don't look closely at Alyanushka. She will never be the same. For those spells are not mine, but the very Earth Mother has cast them upon her. Very soon, your sister will wither, and after 33 days, You'll have to bury her. And you will not die until you bring this forest back to life. And until the fresh wind rustles in its tree branches, I won't stay here any longer. Huh. Then maybe this old man is... So? This is it. What do you mean, Grandpa? What happened to them after all? By the way, if you're just listening to this while you're playing a video game yourself, it switched back to the very beginning of the game where you are the anthropologist talking to the old man. Grandpa, this is the end of the tale. I've told you everything I remembered. Haven't you tried to look for the mound? Who can find it now? Surely it's subsided after all these years. I've wasted an entire day on you and your tale, and you forgot the ending? There now. Don't get upset, and don't get angry with me. The old man. Oh. The old man have an apple? I don't know. That felt weird. Oh, don't get upset with the old man. Here, have an apple. Okay, I'm sorry. The anthropologist takes the apple, twirls it and twirls it in his hands. Thanks. Well, Grandpa, thanks for everything. I'm leaving now. Yes, you should go. The sun is barely seen behind the trees, and I have to go to bed. Tell that damn Ivanich to give me back my hay fork. Oh, there's the frog again. I think I called it a toad mistakenly in the first part. Phew, he seems to have gone away. Well, he'd shoot my ear off. Looking upon a barely noticeable mound. Good day, my sister. How are you? Keeping silent for a while. And me? I'm tramping the ground. I wish I was lying in this wet ground with you. How many years did it measure me? And the forest, what about it? You can see it yourself. Everything was done long time ago. It didn't keep its promise. I'm alive. I'm still alive. So the grandpa is really Klim. I wonder if Klim switches places with Alyanushka, then what? Or maybe Evil will not let him switch because Alyanushka is the only one who can give life. I really want to try both endings though. I'm going to try both endings right after this. Or 3 endings, who knows. I'm sorry. And I guess like a real fairy tale, there really is the snoring. There might not be a happy end here. Or maybe there is. Something is happening. Where's this light coming from? I don't understand. Is it morning already? And then the music kicks in. Oh, I'm getting shivers. I'm not kidding with you. I'm really getting shivers. This is so awesome. Like the atmosphere, the music, everything is so perfect. I love it. Honestly, this is so amazing. What's there? I'll be... Oh, Jesus. This is so awesome. I'm honestly getting shivers. Like the hair on my back and my arms are raising. It's so great. Klim. Alyanushka. Oh, he changed back to his child form. You know, there's a little thing I noticed with Klim that I didn't talk about is how like his this t-shirt seems to be a little bit long, so like it wobbles around when he walks. It's really cute. I had no idea how I could ever have called that character design ugly, honestly. I feel really bad about it. Klim. Alyanushka, I'm so happy. Countless years have passed. Yes? Looking around. What a beautiful forest. Yes, it's amazing. And evil turned out not to be so evil. Evil? Don't you remember, sister? Seeing his sister confused. It's not important anymore. Let's go home. Tomorrow I'll tell you everything. We'll have to sleep on it. And maybe there is a happy ending. I think it's interesting that this is her grave with like the dead tree, which seems to be actually the only dead thing in the... Okay, look at that. Look at that lighting transition. That is so beautiful. And look now, the forest is taking everything back. You know, I was talking about in my original review how the story wasn't that great, but I absolutely disagree with it. I wish I could have backed this project back in the day. I would have loved to see my name on this credit roll. That would have been such an honor, honestly. So, yeah, thank you so much, Everlasting Fantasy, for what you've created here. It's such a great thing. It's such a great game. I've been raving so much about it, and I think it's so underrated. Thank you for, you know, I didn't notice this. I'm so sorry. Everlasting Fantasy actually gave me a key for the new version of this game because I bought the original version, but I would have totally rebought it. So, yeah, such a great thing. Such a great thing. I love this game so much to this day. We're gonna check out the ending, the second ending, in a minute. But if you're not interested, before you leave, I just want to say that, again, thank you so much to Everlasting Fantasy for making this. And if you're interested, I'll link Everlasting Fantasies. I don't think this website is active anymore, by the way. I'll send you guys to Everlasting Fantasies Twitter. I'm gonna link it in the description, and I'm also gonna paste it right here on the screen, so you can go and check out his new projects. He's working on a new game called Perfect Defect. And by the way, the game just closed by itself. And yeah, really hardworking person, super sweet person. I would really appreciate if you went and supported them. At least, you know, leave a follow. Something like that. Okay. So for everybody who isn't interested in the ending, in the second ending, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Have an amazing Friday evening is probably when this is gonna come out. And for everybody else, let's check out the second ending. Let's there's a little bit of a bonus thing right here. Okay, I think the first thing I'm gonna try is to take her place. It's kind of interesting. A huge gigantic oak that grows on the top of the hill. The look of this oak takes the breath away. Can trees be that huge? I think this is one of the oaks that the Willow talked about in the beginning. And I think it's kind of interesting how you can completely miss this text box if you if you go instantly and look at this. The cool thing, this is something that Elden Ring did. And it's also something that Everlasting Fantasy did that I really appreciate. Everlasting Fantasy, as well as FromSoft games, they don't really care if you see everything. They don't really mind if you don't see everything. You know, Everlasting Fantasy has 2 paths earlier, and if you miss something, that's on you. We never got to use the squirrel. I think Everlasting Fantasy... They also said there's something about the powder we can do. I never found that out. Maybe if I find that out, I'll get to that some other day and come back to this, because I feel I'm not done here. There's still stuff to find in this game. And they don't care. Both of these people, obviously From Software is a gigantic studio, and Everlasting Fantasy is like, you know, one person plus the people maybe hired. But it's so cool. If people don't care if you see everything, then you can hide so much stuff, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, let's get to the second ending. Let it be your way, you cunning evil, but I'm begging you to set my sister free. I'll take her place. Evil is silent for a moment. I've been watching you all this time, Clem. Like your sister, you have a pure soul and thoughts. So I decide, let it be. I'll set Alyonushka free. But I'll give her as much life as she will need to wait for you to come back. 1,000 years will pass, and the fresh wind will rustle again in the mighty tree crowns. Then you'll become yourselves again, and you have one more life, full of joy and happiness. Okay, so we can actually take Clem's place. Oh, this is so fucking smart. Everlasting Fantasy, you are a genius. Honestly, this is so smart. Because now the old man is an old woman and it's Alyonushka. That is so smart. That is so smart. To change it around like that. Because in the very beginning of the game, if you remember, you can't actually... Because the person that's in this hut, right? It's like hidden by shadows. You can't quite make out the features. But now that you can actually tell that it's a woman. And it's so amazing. I really appreciate that. Because now it's a grandma. Right. This is it. What do you mean, Grandma? What happened to them after all? This is the end of the tale. I've told you everything I remember. Haven't you tried to look for the mound? Who can find it now? Surely it's subsided after all these years. Ugh. I've wasted an entire day on you and your tale. Okay, I already had that. I don't think there's anything new here. I think it just basically switches around the roles. It doesn't really change much. Yeah, she didn't have anything else to say. Now she's going to sleep. It's the same thing, really, just roles reversed. So far. Yikes! Good heavens! That's different. It's shaking a lot. What's there? I'll be... Oh, it's actually not the tree this time, because the tree was Alyonushka's grave, basically. And this time, Earth is... or nature is giving back Clem. Ah, yes. This is so great. Yeah, it's just giving him back. Alyonushka. Clem. Yeah, she's also turned back. Oh, Clem, I'm so happy. Countless years have passed. Years? Looking around. What a beautiful yeah, it's just role reversal. This is all thanks to you. Don't you remember, brother? Seeing her brother confused. It's not important anymore. Let's go home. Tomorrow I tell you everything. We'll have to sleep on it. I tell you everything. We'll have to sleep on it. It's really interesting to me that neither of them, like, depending on who you pick, remembers. Right? I mean, it's a good thing, because imagine remembering sitting around 1,000 years literally doing nothing, right? That would be hell. It would be really hell. So I guess it's only fair to make them forget. Now they're off to the forest, living the life they've been given by evil. I'm not really sure the evil thing. I'm not sure if evil is like really evil, or maybe if it's just... I also really love how how nature takes back everything here. It's really cool. how evil is. There are even some flowers now, by the way, on the tree on the bottom left. If evil is just supposed to be evil, or if it's the wrong, so either if it's the wrong name given to evil, or it's the correct name, and evil is basically like part of nature, you know, and thus evil doesn't necessarily have to be evil, you know. It's just a thing that's there because, you know, humans are evil, right? Nature isn't evil, nature just is. But humans can be pretty evil, so maybe that's what it's trying to say here. I don't know. But hey, I might be looking too far into it. No animals were harmed in the making of this game. Good that he says that, because I remember Antoine. Poor Antoine got taken by the heathen god. I wonder if Antoine actually survived. That would have been nice to have like the little piggy there. But I don't think it's the final ending, because I remember when I was talking to the dev, they told me about something, because the powder you get from the merchant that you save in the swamp. The dev said something about the powder being part of an ending. So maybe I'm missing something here. Okay, this is the final ending. At least for now. If there's more endings, I'm totally gonna make an extra video, even if it's just a short one. Okay, so we took Alyanushka's place, we cut the tree roots, and now I'm gonna agree with evil. Let it be your way, you evil creature. I knew, Klim, that you would make the right decision. That's why I'm giving you as much life as you will need to wait for your sister to come back. 1,000 years will pass, and the fresh wind will rustle again in the mighty tree crowns. Then you'll become yourselves again, and you'll have one more life, full of joy and happiness. Okay, so it's basically the Alyanushka ending, just, you know, the other way around. I would imagine, yeah. So it actually does have a happy ending. I think all of them are happy endings. I mean, the endings don't differ a whole lot, but they differ enough for it to be satisfying. And the ending itself is really damn satisfying. Like the music, the imagery. Like I said, I'm not joking. I had literal shivers. I wish I could make music like this. This is so awesome. I'm so sorry, it's great. Yeah, this is basically the same thing. Yep, it's the same thing, just roles reversed. So the only, I mean, they're all unique endings, but the only like really different ending is if you actually do end up cutting the tree down. I like how the frog on the bottom right is still croaking. The frogs are amazing. But honestly, the whole game is pretty amazing. And I'm glad that I got to replay it with all of you. I know these Let's Play videos don't do as well as my scripted stuff, but for the people who do enjoy this, and for the hardcore people that are actually still around right now listening to me, thank you so much for hanging out, and I hope I'll find more games that we can play together on, you know, a relaxing Friday evening. That frog must be thousands of years old by now. Alright. And with that, I'm going to let the credits roll by one more time, and then I'm gonna end this. And I hope I see you in the next one. Take care.